Chelsea Football Club are no strangers to highs and lows. For years, they've been one of the powerhouses of English football, lifting trophies, dominating the Premier League, and even tasting European glory. But lately, it's been a rough ride. The club that once prided itself on its consistency and competitiveness is now struggling to find solid ground, finishing mid-table and battling to stay relevant among the top teams. But this season feels different. Chelsea seems to be finding their rhythm. Let's look at why it may be too early to write them off. Okay, first off, let's talk about the positives. Chelsea's season actually seems to be on an upswing, and we're not even kidding here. They've put together some good results lately, and it's been refreshing to see a team that feels a bit more cohesive and determined. The players look like they're syncing up better, the manager is finding a rhythm, and the fans are finally seeing some spark. Sure, there's chatter about a potential top 4 finish, maybe even an outside chance at a title push, if things go really well. But hang on, before we get too excited, let's consider why Chelsea's past few seasons have been so turbulent. It wasn't too long ago that Chelsea was dominating and winning major titles. Just a couple of years ago, they were Champions League winners, and then almost overnight, they slipped down the ranks. So, what's going on? To understand Chelsea's current challenges, we need to look back a couple years to a monumental shift in 2022. Roman Abramovich, who turned Chelsea into a trophy-laden powerhouse, was forced to sell the club, leading to new ownership under Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital. At first, this transition seemed promising. The new owner spoke of a long-term vision involving heavy investment in youth talent, renovations to Stamford Bridge, and bringing in fresh faces to the squad. On paper, it looked like Chelsea was set for an exciting rebuild. However, the reality turned out to be far more complex. Clearlake Capital, the primary stakeholder, is a private equity firm primarily focused on short-term financial returns. Their high-stakes, profit-driven approach is at odds with the culture of football, where long-term stability, team chemistry, and fan loyalty are often the most valuable assets. Clearlake's main goal is to turn Chelsea profitable as quickly as possible. But not in football. That's often achieved through strategic, gradual growth and consistent leadership, not quick financial returns. This creates tension within Chelsea's new leadership structure. Boehly may be keen on fostering a football legacy, but Clearlake's immediate financial goals could jeopardize that. With so much pressure on short-term profits, Chelsea risks losing the stability and values that built its foundation. The club is at a crossroads. Can it achieve both profit and legacy, or will its identity get lost in the process? Now let's talk about this new Americanized strategy, something we're seeing more and more in European football, and especially here with Chelsea. Clearlake and Iqbali seem to have brought in elements from American sports, where things like player trading, salary caps, and data-driven scouting are king. In theory, this sounds smart, right? But here's the scary part. These methods don't really transfer over to European football as seamlessly as they might think. In the NBA or NFL, salary caps and data-driven decision-making are the norm, helping balance teams and keep things competitive. In contrast, European football is more of an open market. The best players go to the highest bidder, and the club's heritage and team spirit often matter just as much as individual player stats. By applying this American quick-fix approach to Chelsea, the owners might be missing out on the club's essence, that sense of family, tradition, and long-term success. And then came the spending spree. Under Boehly and Clearlake, Chelsea spent a staggering amount on transfers, nearly £500 million just on players in a few seasons. They've brought on a ton of young, promising players, but here's the catch. They've been brought in with the idea that they're assets rather than integral parts of a team. And while it's great to see new talent, this rapid influx of players has made it difficult to develop a stable, consistent squad. Young players are struggling to find their place, there's a lack of seasoned mentors, and the pressure to perform right away is immense. For a football team, chemistry is essential, and it's nearly impossible to build that when half of your players are wondering if they're there for the long haul or just a few seasons. But focusing on the game itself, the players deserve some credit. Recent performances have shown promise. Chelsea's finally starting to find some rhythm. The passing's crisper, they're passing more intelligently, and we're seeing some real energy on the field. You could argue that this has the potential to push Chelsea back into the top 4 conversation, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword. The recent successes could be masking some of the deeper issues, like the high turnover of players and the lack of experienced leaders. Let's not forget that a lot of these improvements are thanks to players who are really young and still getting their bearings. The inconsistency we're seeing is natural, given the lack of seasoned veterans who could offer guidance. In contrast, clubs like Real Madrid have managed to create a balanced squad, blending wonder kids with experienced legends who can lead by example. However, here's where Chelsea's strategy gets a little interesting. They've been looking up to Brighton. The club has been trying to emulate Brighton's success story by signing players and staff from them. Brighton's model is all about developing players for profit. They buy cheap, develop talent, and sell high. That's not typically what fans of top-tier clubs like Chelsea are looking for. Chelsea supporters want their team to be competing for titles, not just selling their top talent once they get good. This obsession with copying Brighton's model has led to a staggering number of signings and loans, but it's causing more harm than good. With so many players coming in and out, it's almost impossible for the team to develop any kind of identity. And when there's no stable team, how can you expect consistent results? In truth, Chelsea's owners might be more interested in developing players as assets rather than a squad aiming for trophies. The high turnover and rapid sales indicate that young players are there to boost the club's market value more than they are trying to bring home titles. The aim seems to be flipping players at a profit rather than winning trophies with them. This is so different from the Chelsea we used to know, where the squad was built to win year after year. There's a legitimate worry here that Chelsea's ownership is turning the club into a player development factory, not a competitive team. Even with recent improvements on the field, the goal seems to be shifting from building a legacy to running a business. Now, if you're a Chelsea fan, here's why this should concern you. Under this model, what we're seeing on the field right now could be more of a preview of what's to come. Without a solid foundation, experienced leaders, or a genuine stable strategy, it'll be hard to break into the top spots consistently, let alone fight for the title. Chelsea's management might see success as balancing the books, but fans want trophies. Plus, there's another chilling reality. As long as the fans continue to support the club and buy tickets, the owners might not feel the pressure to change. So long as there's revenue, there's no urgent need to pivot back to trophy chasing Chelsea fans are used to. So what does this mean for Chelsea's future? Best case scenario, Chelsea's young, talented players adapt quickly, find cohesion, and start delivering consistent results. But the scary truth is that without a solid, trophy-focused vision, Chelsea may be headed for a future where top spots and titles aren't the priority anymore. Instead, the club might be focusing on developing, selling, and profiting from young talent. Fans may have to watch as the club slowly drifts into a middle-of-the-table identity, with flashes of brilliance but no real shot at sustained success. If the ownership doesn't adjust, Chelsea's story may be shifting from a glorious powerhouse to a talent-producing club, which is a stark difference from the Chelsea we all know. But what do you guys think? Can Chelsea's owners make this model work and still bring home trophies? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, find out why Arsenal could be destroyed by injuries again in our next video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for football insights.